Well done, Marvel Marketing Department. You really hid a lot of this movie from us. Well played. Hey movie fans, so I just saw Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings, which really feels like the next proper step in Phase 4. No offense to Black Widow, but this movie really feels like the start of a new era for Marvel in the best possible way. I really enjoyed this movie. Now, I joked in the intro that the marketing department hid a lot of this movie, and in a sense, that's absolutely true. Almost all of the trailers that we see really focus on just the first 20 to 25 minutes of the movie, a lot like what Avengers Endgame's trailers did, and I really actually appreciated that because after a certain point, I'm like, yeah, I've seen all this footage before in the trailers, so I genuinely don't know where to go, and this movie has a lot of surprises in store. It is so much bigger in scope than the trailers laid out for you. However, it's still a deeply personal and really fun story that kind of goes in a different direction for a Marvel movie. However, to say that would go into spoiler territories, and this is a spoiler-free review, so I would first off say go see Shang-Chi. I'm going to have that mistake quite a bit in this review, I'm sure. Shang-Chi, they make a whole bit of it. This movie is very different, but still very Marvel. There's quite a bit that's the same, but quite a bit that's different, especially in the final act, which I feel like, especially for me, but I'm saying a lot of other people online, it's very make or break. The ending did not bother me a ton, but I could see where it could be a little off-putting to some. It is very different, but it also is very different from the rest of the movie, but again, it's hard to dip into spoilers. Let's talk about some positives, though. Simu Liu as Shang-Chi absolutely crushes it. Very early on, he established that, oh my gosh, he's going to be one of my new favorite Marvel characters going forward. He has this charisma and this likability. He just has this very human and down-to-earth persona to him. I related to him a lot more than Robert Downey Jr.'s Iron Man when we first meet him. Steve Trevor's Captain America was great, but he didn't have that relatable factor that Shang-Chi does in this movie. He's got this great friend with Awkafina, which I appreciate that the movie very clearly setting them up as just platonic friends, and I didn't really get any romantic vibes from them, which I thought was really clever and really refreshing, because so often in superhero movies, oh, they've got to get together by the end of the movie. People are allowed to be just friends. Like, he doesn't friend zone her, but I just felt like they were really close friends and have been for close to a decade. The real standout in this movie, though, is Tony Leung as Wenwu, as the main antagonist. And it's not really a spoiler. He plays Shang-Chi's father. He's the main bad guy. He is easily one of the MCU's best villains and one of the most complex. At a certain point, I'm just sitting back going, yeah, kind of just go with your plan, man. I'm kind of backing you a little bit, and then they'll show you something going, oh yeah, he's definitely a bad guy, but I at least can really sympathize with you in kind of the same way that you could sympathize with Michael Keaton's Vulture, except even more so than that. He was a fantastic villain. The entire cast was really great. There really was not a weak one among the bunch. I appreciated that this movie has the traditional MCU humor, but it really didn't go overboard with it. There's one moment that, like, they kind of interrupt the narrative just to tell a joke, and I thought that might be the case for the entire movie, but no, by and large, for a Marvel movie, it's got some laughs, but it doesn't really go overboard with it. However, there's one standout. For those that know the movie, Morris is the best, and if you don't know what that means, you're just gonna go right over your head and go see the movie, you'll understand. Morris is amazing. The visuals, by and large, are pretty good. I think towards the end of the movie, it gets a little bit wonky, but it's hard to explain why. It's just that there's a lot going on the screen, so I'm a little bit more forgiving of the poor CG artists that had to make do with that. And as I said towards the beginning, there's a lot more to this story than the trailers are letting on. It just seems like it's a dude fighting his dad for some rings. There's a lot more to it than that, and the final fight is a lot bigger and more epic in scope than you're imagining. I also really like the fight choreography. It was so refreshing to see that when you're fighting, you can clearly see that it is Simu Liu doing the stunts, and you can clearly see the action. There was clearly time and effort put into the fight choreography. The fluidity of the motion was just great. You're like, ooh, it just flows so smooth. It was just so pleasant to watch. The scene that you see in all the trailers of the bus fight, that's one of the standouts, but it's by no means the best scene in the movie. I think that's just the best showcase of Shang-Chi's martial arts abilities, but it's not by any means the best fight scene. That's just, I really enjoyed the fluidity of that scene. I appreciated, what's the actor's name? The bad guy from Creed 2 as Razor Fist. I really liked his Razor Fist, and I hope to see more of him going forward. I really enjoyed this movie. My only real negatives were the ending gets a little too CGI heavy, and there's some elements that people might not fully get on board with at the end, but I got on board with it, and it was a lot of fun. And I thought the mid-credits were just kind of okay. Maybe I overhyped them in my brain, but as a whole, this is one of the best intro movies for a character in the MCU to date. Even though it gets really big and epic in scope towards the tail end, there's still a heart and a humanity to the cast, and especially Shang-Chi. You really get behind the dude. After this movie was done, you're just like, yeah, he stands toe-to-toe with just about any of the Avengers, and I can absolutely buy why he's now going to be on the team going forward. So yeah, check out Shang-Chi if you have any interest whatsoever in seeing it. It's a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it. Well, what did you guys think? Did you see Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings? If you have, what did you think of it? Let me know in the comments below. I always like reading your comments. If you haven't already subscribed to the channel, we're really close to 500 subscribers. Help us get there. We're really close. And as always, stay sharp, movie guys and gals.